Blessed to have Basem with us. Tonight, the talk is Finding the One. Finding the One. So when I told Basem about finding the one, he said, I found her. I told him, that's not what you're going to talk to them how? It's not a question for you. You've already found her, and you took her, and you stole her away with you to Australia. But now he's going to talk to us about finding the one. Let us all lift our hearts in prayer so that the Holy Spirit can speak through Basem. If you have any questions that are coming to you as Basem speaks, please write them down. We're going to have an opportunity to answer some of the questions at the end. And if not enough, we're going to have 2 panels that are going to come in the following 2 weeks, which I'm going to explain in more detail, so that you can make sure that the questions are going to be answered. So don't let your questions, fade away. And please, this is a safe haven. Nobody here judges anyone. And if anybody does, let me know. But nobody here judges anyone. And there is nothing called stupid question. Okay? So let us welcome our very own Basem Moris.
Hello, everyone. It's such a blessing to be with you guys. For those who don't know me, I lived in London 10 years ago now, and I used to serve in the youth meeting here, so it's so weird coming back to St. Mark's youth meeting as a guest, because I used to live here, literally. I literally lived 2 blocks down the road, and I was just here all the time, so it's so nice to be with you guys. So we're going to have a lot of fun tonight with this topic. Let me just put my stuff down. Okay, so as Abuna said, we're going to talk about finding the one. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you guys tonight as a brother. I'm not going to talk theory. Okay, I'm a married man. I've been married for 15 years now. 15 years. My wife's actually from London, so I met my wife in London, and we lived in Australia now. This is actually us 15 years ago in our wedding. So I'm going to share my experience with you. Okay, I'm going to be open. It's experience I'm sharing, not theory, not stuff I read in books, stuff I experienced, okay? And as Abuna said, safe space. I know we're being recorded, but feel free to ask any questions you want. I'm happy to answer any question, okay? No question is out of bounds, okay? I actually gave a very similar talk 15 years ago in the youth meeting, and I used the same picture, so I thought I'd use it again just for old time's sake. Okay, before I start, very important. I want to say that I have the best wife, okay? And I'm not just saying that because we're being recorded and she's going to listen to every word that I say. I'm not. So if during tonight I say something like, I have a friend who has trouble in their marriage, I'm not talking about myself. I actually have a friend, okay? Very important before we start. Okay, so I'm going to say you need to know this. There's no manual for relationships. Before you drive, you take lessons, right? But when it comes to relationships, off you go. Good luck. So you need to hear this. You need to hear married people telling you about their experience. Okay, you may think I'm too young. You're not. I heard a talk once about marriage when I was 16, and I still remember it till now. You may think I'm too old. I'm never going to get married. You never know what God has planned for you. And even if you don't get married, at least you'll have some good advice to give to your friends who will get married, okay? So the point is, you need to hear this. Now, I want to show you, I'm going to start with something I was trying to find updated data on UK marriage and divorce rates, but I couldn't. So I'm just going to show you till 2019, right? So about 6 years old. Now, as you can see here, the dark line at the bottom is the number of divorces. The light blue line, number of marriages, okay? This is in Wales, England, so the UK, right? So, as you can see, the number of marriages is declining dramatically from the 70s, which kind of makes sense, right? People are thinking, why get married? We'll just live together, what's the point? It's just a contract. I'm sure you've heard it all. But the worrying thing is that divorces are rising as well and coming closer to the number of marriages. Now, I'd love to know what happened in the last 6 years, but my guess would be they've got even closer. Now, what happens when the blue line, the light blue line, crosses the dark blue line? The number of marriages equals the number of divorces, which kind of means that every marriage will end up in divorce, like roughly, right? So why am I showing you this? To scare you? Yes, slightly, because I think you have to be a bit careful when you enter marriage. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is that the way of the world is not working when it comes to relationships, okay? The way the world does relationships is not working. So if you want to end up somewhere different, with a different outcome in your relationships, you've got to try a different method to what we see on TikTok and Facebook and what have you. Yeah? Do we agree? The way of the world's not working. So we need another way. And hopefully tonight we can discuss that way. Okay, I want to show you a verse. I'm going to show you a few verses tonight so that it's not me talking, but the Word of God talking. So I love these verses from Haggai. Now, therefore, thus says the Lord of hosts. God is saying, consider your ways. So stop and think. Consider your ways. You have sown much, but bring in little. You eat, but you don't have enough. You drink, but you're not filled with drink. You clothe yourselves, but no one is warm. And he who earns wages to put into a bag with holes. Thus says the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. So in this verse, God is saying, think about what you're doing. There's a lot of activity, but not much result, right? And I think this could apply to relationships these days as well. If you think about it, these days, we are probably the most experienced generation when it comes to relationships. Like people aren't as reserved as before, as conservative, so we can do whatever we want. But at the same time, divorce rates are rising and relationships are failing. Why? Like we're doing a lot, but it's resulting in nothing. So God is telling us, consider your ways. Consider how you do things, right? Consider how you approach relationships and the way of the world. Now, I don't want to scare you, but I think I have to a bit, because I think it's healthy to have a healthy level of fear when you enter a relationship. But all those divorces we saw on the chart previously, I guarantee you the majority of them were in love and the birds were singing and it was so romantic. No one planned to get divorced. Like no one entered marriage thinking, I think I'm going to get divorced. Or I've got a chance of getting divorced, right? Everyone was in love, right? So just be careful. The fact that you're, on cloud nine doesn't mean much. There's more to it than that. Okay? Now, one thing I want to say tonight, and please, if you forget everything I say, just remember this. A satisfied married life depends on a satisfied single life. I.e., if you're not satisfied single, you will not be satisfied married. Okay? Take it from me, guys. I'm a married man. I love you all. I beg you, listen to what I'm saying to you. Marriage will not satisfy you. I know it's crazy, but marriage will not satisfy you. Yeah? If you're not satisfied single, you're going to be in a shock when you get married because you're not going to be satisfied married either. Okay? The reason I'm saying that is this. Only God can satisfy you. And I'm not saying it because we're in church. Again, as I told you, I'm not going to talk theory tonight. I'm talking practice. Trust me. Only God can satisfy you. Another person cannot satisfy you. So if you enter into a relationship expecting to be satisfied by that other person, you're in for a shock. Because you know what's going to happen? You're going to enter the relationship, you're going to find your needs aren't filled, but you've got someone else's needs to fill. Double trouble. Double the needs, no one to fill them. Yeah? And that's why a lot of marriages end up, not successful. Because the expectation is, this is going to fill my needs when it won't. When it won't. Yep. Trust me on this, I beg you. Like if I get down on the floor and beg you, because I would hate to come back to London in a few years' time and meet some of you and your marriages are down the drain. And so I'm trying to give you like a vaccine, right? Just to stop problems in future. So only God can satisfy you. Do you guys remember when Jesus went to visit Lazarus and his sisters? Yeah? Jesus said something to Martha, his sister, who was very kind of busy and worried about some stuff. Jesus said to her, Martha, Martha, you are worried and troubled about many things, but one thing is needed. In another translation, he says to her, the need is for one. Yeah? So you're troubled and worried about many things, but only one is needed. Only one is needed. What's that one? Who's the one? Christ is the one. Yeah? So when we talk tonight about finding the one, who am I talking about? I'm talking about finding Christ. I got you. It's not, right? You're expecting I was going to give you tips on how to. I was talking about finding Christ tonight, right? Because Christ is the one who's going to fill your needs. Yeah? We are worried and troubled about many things. Like I was looking at some of the questions that have come through over the last 24 hours. I can tell there's a lot of worry about many things and trouble. People are troubled, I can tell. And guys, I was there. I was single like you. So I know what it's like. But trust me, again, tonight I'm thinking to myself, if I can go back and speak to my single self, what would I tell myself? And that's what I'm doing tonight with you. Yeah. So this is from the heart. This is what I would tell my single self. I would tell my single self, only Christ can satisfy you. The need is for one. Yeah, you have to find the one first before you find a relationship. Yep. I'm happy to take questions, or maybe we can wait to the end, but please, and feel free. I don't want it to be a lecture. I have a friend, the first friend, not me, who was dying to get married, right? Dying to be in a relationship. That's all he thought about. Every time I met him, that's all he was talking to me about. He was praying about it. He was fasting. He was putting stuff on the altar. He was like, that's all he cared about. Marriage, right? And he was convinced that marriage would solve all his problems. He was obsessed with it, obsessed. So I'll never forget, I felt sorry for the guy. I'm like, please God, just give him someone. Like the guy's dying. And then I left Sydney. I came to London to live in London. And then I went back to Sydney, I remember a year and a half after. And I remember I was going to church on the Sunday after I arrived. And I'm walking up the road of the church, I'll never forget. And I saw my mate, my friend. I'm like, oh, there's such and such. And then I look, and he's opening a car. And in the car, I can see there's a female in the passenger seat. I'm like, yes, finally, thank the Lord. Like he was dying. This is great. But it gets better. I look further and I see a baby in the back seat. I'm like, this is the best thing ever. Like all his dreams have come true. This is amazing. So I went up to him, gave him the biggest hug, and I said, congratulations, huh? Like everything you've ever wanted. I'll never forget the way he looked at me. So back then I was single, right? He looked at me and he said to me, I wish I can be like you, single. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? That's all he ever wanted. He got it, and now he's saying, I wish I can be single again. Because if you're not satisfied single, you will not be satisfied married. Trust me. Yep. Okay. So I guess the question is this. What is the source of my satisfaction right now? Is it a relationship? Is it someone else? What is the source of my satisfaction? You know, Jesus said, Philippians, St. Paul says, and my God shall supply all your need according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. It's not theory, guys. Honestly, I'm not just saying it because we're in a youth meeting. I promise you. I'm speaking from the heart. My God shall supply all your needs. He didn't say some needs, most needs. He's going to supply all your needs. And not only that, according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. You know what that means, according to his riches? If you come to me and you say, hey, Basem, I need some money, I might give you like £100. Like that's according to my riches. Like that's all I have. If you go to, I don't know, the king, right? He might give you £1 million according to his riches, right? If you go to, I don't know, Bill Gates, he might give you £1 billion, right? But what happens when you go to God? Like, you know what I imagine God saying, you know, I only have I only carry around billions. Do you have change for $1 billion? No, all right, take it. I only carry around eternity. Do you have change for eternity? Okay, take eternity. That's according to his riches. So he's going to supply all our needs according to his riches. Yeah? What more do we want? No one else can say that to us. Not a spouse, not a relationship. No one can say, I'm going to supply all your needs. Make sense? So the question again is, what is the source of my satisfaction? What is satisfying my need? What do I think will satisfy my need? Yep. Another way to ask it is, what am I seeking in life? What am I seeking? Because some people are just seeking a relationship. What am I seeking? Jesus said, but seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Yeah, all these things will be added to you. So I'm telling you guys, again, not theory, I promise. I hope you don't think I'm talking theory. If you seek God and you put God first, he will give you the best life. Guaranteed. Yep. If you seek God and you trust in him and you put him first above everything, he will give you the best life. Do you believe that? Or is it just theory? Like, do you really believe it? Do you genuinely believe it? You know, when you're single, I remember when I was single, it's a test of faith. It's a test of your faith. Do you really believe that God can look after you? Because I remember when I was single, obviously there's a lot of unknowns. Who am I going to marry? Like, for me, it was like, what country am I going to be in? What am I going to do? Like, a lot of unknowns, a lot of opportunity to trust in God. So it's a great test of faith. Like, do you trust Him? Do you believe that if you put God first, He will give you, He will supply all your needs? Do you believe that or not? Test of faith when you're single. Look at this other, so I'm going to throw verses at you. I want to encourage you through the Word of God. The young lions lack and suffer hunger, but those who seek the Lord shall not lack any good thing. Again, do you believe this? Do you believe that if you seek the Lord, you will not lack any good thing? Do you believe it? Test of faith. You know my story? I don't know if you guys know. So I came and lived in London. I actually never intended to come live in London. You know what I was doing? I left Australia. It's a bit crazy, but I decided to go backpacking around the world. So I was literally backpacking. I went through Central South America, and my plan was, I'm going to come to London, and I lived 2 months in London, because the British pound was very strong back then. So I thought, if I work for 2 months, this was my plan, right? I'm going to make up all the money that I spent in the whole trip. And I'll come back to Sydney and start again where I left off, right? I ended up living 10 years in London. The 2 months turned into 10 years. If you had told me when I was back in Sydney, you're going to go to London and you're going to live there for 10 years and you're going to get married there, I would have run away. I would have canceled my flight, right? Never in my wildest dreams did I ever imagine that I would even live more than 2 months in London, let alone 10 years. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever imagine I would marry a girl from London. Like, what am I doing in London? I'm from Australia, outside of the world. Never in my wildest dreams. But if you were to ask me, what was better, your plan or God's plan? 100% God's plan was better. 100%. There's another verse that I didn't put up here, but I always remember during this period, it says that as for God, His way is perfect. God's way is perfect. Trust me, I thought my plan was good. I had a great plan. Nothing compared to God's plan. Nothing. So I'm telling you guys, I beg you, trust in God and you will see. God will not let you down. 100%. Guaranteed. I'm not saying it because we're in a youth meeting. Guaranteed. I've experienced it. Another verse. Blessed be the Lord God, the God of Israel, who only does wondrous things. I love this. God only does wondrous things. He can't do, average things. Everything He does is wow. Everything He does is wow. And again, I look back at my marriage and the way I met my spouse, like, wow. Like, I could just stand here in front of you now in the church where I met my wife and say, God's way was perfect. God's way was perfect. No comparison between God's way and my way. He only does wondrous things. Okay? Being single, again, is the best time to trust in God. So don't waste the opportunity looking for the next stage. Make the most of this stage. This is the best time to trust God. If you were to ask me, when was the best time you prayed? It was when I was in your stage. The best prayers, because again, there's so much unknown. I don't know what's happening. It's scary. So you can just throw yourself on God. The best time to seek God, the best time to build a relationship with Him is now, in this stage while you're in. So don't waste it. Make the most of it. Because you look back and you'll say, I had the chance, I didn't use it. So invest now in your relationship with God. Now is the time. This is perfect. Me as a married man, I'm looking at you now, single, and I'm saying you guys are so lucky. I know you're probably thinking of me, it's easy for you to say you're married, you're lucky. No, you guys are so lucky. You got an opportunity now to get to know God, unmatched. So please don't waste it. Grab it. Grab it and make the most of it. Solomon says to us, remember now your Creator in the days of your youth, before the difficult days come. I'm not saying marriage is the difficult days, just to be very clear, but I'm just saying it only gets harder. So invest in your relationship with God now. Don't say, when I get married, it'll be easy because I have someone to encourage me. Garbage. Garbage. I'm being honest with you. Invest in your relationship with God now. Okay? Do not wait. Look at this verse from Sirach. I love this. If you have gathered nothing in your youth, how can you find anything in your old age? So if you've gathered nothing when you're single, Don't expect your marriage to be good. Again, as I said, if you're not satisfied single, you won't be satisfied married. So start investing now in relationship with God, and they'll carry you through into your marriage. Okay. I know you're probably thinking, wait a minute, if I'm satisfied single, why would I get married? Right? No, I'm satisfied. What's the point of getting married then? I'll just stay single. Very good question. Relationships, now let's talk about, we talked about the way the world does things. How do relationships work in the Christian sense? When I'm satisfied single, why would I get married? I'll tell you why. You may think this is crazy, but when you're satisfied, you get married in order to give, not take. Yep. So Christian marriages become about giving, not taking. In the world sense, it's what am I going to get out of this relationship? She's good looking, she's this, she's that. I'm thinking about what am I getting, right? But Christian marriages are about what do I give? Make sense? That's the way marriage should be. You know that the real marriage that all our marriages here on earth are replicating? The real marriage is between Christ and the church. That's the real marriage that we all just replicate here. Christ was all about giving to the church, not taking. So that's what true marriage should be. I'm going to embarrass myself, but my wife, Tina, right, before we got together, so I used to try to set my friends up with her because I thought she was a very good girl, right? So I'm trying to set my friends up. So I'd say to my friends, like a very good friend of mine, who you may know, so I'm not going to say who it is, but I was saying to them, look, Tina's a great girl, look, do something. I'm trying to set him up. And I'll never forget what he told me. He said to me, Tina is the type of girl who needs XYZ. Like she needs a person who is a certain character. I'm not that person. Listen to this next part. He goes, so I'm not going to be able to serve her properly. Isn't that amazing? He's thinking, how am I going to be able to serve her? Not what am I getting from her? Yeah? So Christian relationships are about giving, not taking. Does that make sense? A lot of people ask, how do I know if I'm ready for a relationship? What age? Like, give me an age. When am I ready? I'll tell you when you're ready. When you're ready to give, not take, that's when you're ready for a relationship. Yeah? If you're still thinking take, you're not ready. Please, for the sake of everyone, don't enter a relationship if you're just thinking about taking. Once you start thinking about giving, then that's when you can enter a relationship. Okay, last thing I want to say kind of before just moving on to the next point is, and look, don't tell your parents I said this, but don't listen to what people tell you. Like, don't listen when people say to you, you're getting old, hurry up. But I beg you, don't listen to that garbage, all right? I got married pretty late. So I was above 30 when I got married. And once you reach 30, that's it. Like, all hope's lost. It's garbage, guys, right? Like, I remember, again, embarrassing myself, but some family members of mine would say to me, come on, Basem, you're getting old. And I love that, like the logic people use to convince you. Like, so I remember they used to say to me, all the good girls go first. Like, all the good girls go first, and all the bad girls are like, what are you talking about? All the good girls go first. So if you wait too long, all the good girls will be gone, and you end up with the bad ones. Like, are we joking? Like, where's God in the story here? Like, where's God? And some people would say to me, I'm worried about you, Basem. I'm worried about you. And I remember one time thinking, they're worried about me because I'm not married yet. I wonder if God's worried. Like, is God sitting there going, I'm worried about you, Basem, the good girls go first, and like you're going to be left. Is God worried? Okay, obviously God's not worried, right? If God's not worried, why should I be worried? You see the logic? Like, if God's not worried, why should I be worried? I'm sure God's saying, I've got a plan for you, Basem. If you trust in me, I'll give you the best life. Please don't listen to people tell you. Don't let them put pressure on you, especially the girls. You know? Again, don't tell your parents I said this, but don't listen. Trust in God. He's got a plan for you. He'll give you the best life. Don't just compromise and rush into something because you're worried all the good guys are going to go first. Yeah? Funny story. So people used to say to me, come on, Basem, you got to make a move. There's girls out there, you got to make a move. Like, what do you think's going to happen? Do you think God's going to come down and point at her? Like, do you think God's going to do that? And I remember thinking, if God wants to point, he can point. Like, what's stopping God from pointing? And I kid you not, I was saying this story to some of the youth. So we were once I started going out with Tina, no one knew we were going out. And then we went to Master's house, actually. And there was like a bunch of youth that had wanted to Master's house. And we all sat together in a circle, okay? So we're sitting in a circle. And I'm sitting here, no one knows I'm going out with Tina, right? And Tina's sitting directly opposite me, right there, okay? And during the sitting, I looked at Tina, I kid you not. And so the position was, Tina's sitting there, and right on top of Tina's head, the wall behind her, was a picture of Jesus right on top of her head doing this, picture of Jesus doing this. And I looked and I thought, he's pointing. Oh, no, I didn't say, look, he's pointing. They told me he wouldn't point. He's pointing. So if God wants to point, he'll point. Don't listen to people tell you. Trust in God, he will give you the best. Trust me, guys. Look at this verse from Sirach. Sorry. Look at this. I love this. He's asking, consider the generations of old and see. So think about past generations. Has anyone trusted in the Lord and been disappointed? Think about that. Has anyone trusted in the Lord and thought, I shouldn't have trusted in God? He let me down. Has that ever happened? Never. Those who trust in the Lord are never disappointed. Never disappointed. So I'll leave you with this one verse just before I move on. Okay, I am going to get to like tips on finding the other one, but we have to talk about the one first, right? So this last verse. This verse was the verse like of my life when I was at your stage. And I hope and pray that you can pray this as well from your heart. David says in the Psalm, but as for me, I trust in you, O Lord. So people are telling me things, people are worrying me, people are this, that. I don't care. As for me, I trust in you, O Lord. I say, you are my God. Look at this next part. My times are in your hand. My times, my past, my present, and my future are in your hand. And that's the best place for them to be. So as for me, I'm not worried. I trust in God, and he will do what's best for me. Okay? That's the foundation that we all have to agree on before I move on to the next stage. Okay? Any questions or anything at this stage? Are we convinced that there's only one? The need is for one. Yep. And that's Christ. Well, we'll have to find that one first. Find him while you're single. Because if you're satisfied with him single, you're going to go into marriage. You're going to have a great marriage because you're going to be very satisfied. And you go into marriage overflowing onto your spouse. Not empty and looking to be filled. You'll be overfilled and overflow onto your spouse. Okay. Now, some practical advice. Because I know you guys came for that. Practical advice. Although I think everything we just said is practical, but just practical. Okay. So, this is if you are considering, maybe you've invested in a relationship with God, you're seeking God wholeheartedly, and then God has presented you with someone, a potential in front of you. This applies to both the guys and the girls, all right? So the guys will have to make the first move, initiate. The girl is waiting. But it applies to both because the guy has to consider these things before approaching, and the girl has to consider these things before accepting, yeah? So that's what I want to talk about now. But before I do that, I want to say that marriage is a big decision. Don't take it lightly. Okay? Marriage is either going to be the best thing in your life or the worst thing in your life. Because it's going to be such a big part of your life. So your spouse is either going to be your best friend or the one you want to chuck out the window, right? It's a big decision. So please don't take it lightly and go, yeah, whatever, let's go for it. Everyone else is doing it, must be easy. Everyone else is getting divorced. Remember the divorce rates. So let's think carefully about what we're doing. And one thing, so people, when I was single, and people would say to me, come on, get married, good girls, all that. I remember I would say something that I used to love my response. I used to say to them, I would rather regret being single than regret being married. Make sense? So I would rather be single and then at the end of my life think, I regret being single, it would have been nice to get married, than the opposite, than get married and regret being married. Yeah, so I would rather regret being single than regret being married. Because to be honest with you, again, shocking statement. It's easier to be single than married. I know you're thinking, trust me, married man, it's easier to be single than be married. I'm not saying it's better to be single. I'm just saying it's harder to be married than single. When you're single, you're on your own. You make your own decisions. You've got time. You've got freedom. Yeah. So it's a lot easier to be single than be married. And I know you're saying, oh, it's easy for you to say because you're married. Trust me, guys. Trust me. It's easier to be single than be married. And I'll stop there. So the first thing I'll say in terms of practical then is be careful who you choose. Be careful who you choose. Okay? So, number one, pray. That's probably the only thing. If I could have just one thing on the list, it's pray. And as I said, the best time to pray is when you're single. Pray that God chooses for you. Yeah? So don't pray for God to make it work out with a particular person, but pray that God chooses for you. You know why? This is the best way to approach it. Because in marriage, when you have problems, which you will have problems in marriage, obviously, like it's two people becoming one, it's a bit of a transition. The first thought that's going to come to your mind is, I married the wrong person. I shouldn't have married her. That's the first thought that comes to your mind. But if you are sure that God chose for you, that thought doesn't come to your mind. So if I have problems in my marriage, I go to God and say, God, this is your idea. This is your plan, not mine. This is your marriage, not mine. It's your responsibility. So fix whatever we're going through. With me? It's a much better way than second guessing yourself. Did I marry the right person? I think I made a mistake. So pray that God chooses for you, guys. It's a big decision. You don't want to make it on your own. Trust me, you don't want to make this decision. You want God to make the decision for you. So pray that God guides you and He chooses for you. That's number one. Okay? Then how do you attract the right person? Number two, be the right person. If you're the right person, you will attract the right person because you attract people like you. Like I sometimes get friends of mine saying, single friends saying, Basem, man, I want a church girl. Are you a church guy? No. Okay, what makes you think a church girl will be interested in you? If you want a church girl, you've got to be a church guy. See what I mean? So you attract people like you. So if you want the right person, be the right person. So think to yourself, what is the right person for me? And be that person. And you'll attract the right person. Okay? So the question to ask yourself is, am I the right person? Before you look outside, look at inside first. And ask, am I the right person? And work on that first. Okay. Number three, I beg you, choose someone God-centered. I'm not saying it's because we're in church. God is love. If you get married away from God, you are getting married without love. So you want someone God-centered. And by the way, I chose my words carefully. I didn't say someone close to God because you can't judge someone's closeness to God. But I'm saying God is a priority in their life. Like they're aiming for God. Yeah? Maybe they're not close yet, but God's an important priority in their life. You may say, how do I know that? Easy. If you talk to someone for more than half an hour, you'll know whether he's God-centered or not. Does he mention God at all? When he asked you, I'm talking to the girls here because usually, when he asked you out, did he pray about you before he approached? When he asked you out, did he ask you to pray about it before answering? Like, it's very easy to tell if someone's God-centered or not. And by the way, I'm sorry to say this, shocking statement, but if he's a deacon, it doesn't mean anything. Being a deacon does not mean anything, right? So being a deacon does not necessarily mean he's God-centered, okay? Trust me, I'm a deacon myself, I know. Okay? Look at the way he approaches. How does he make decisions in life? Any deacons in the room? Yeah. Okay, how does he make decisions? Does he make them prayerfully? Or just, let's go, yeah? So you can tell if someone is God-centered or not. Okay, fourth point, again, critical point. What you see is what you get. What does that mean? Don't expect people to change after marriage. Okay? What you see is what you're going to get. So are you happy with what you see? If you're not happy with what you see, don't go for it. It's not going to change. One of the biggest myths is oh, things will get better after marriage. They won't. They'll get worse. They'll get worse. Okay, typical scenario. Typical scenario. I'm not talking about any specific. I don't know most of you. So just typical scenario. You get this amazing girl, amazing, beautiful girl, the best, with a loser of a guy. And when you say, what's going on? She'll say to you, I feel that our relationship will help him get close to God. Garbage. Absolute garbage, right? It's marriage, not mission, right? You know what's going to happen? You think you're going to get him close to God? No. You know what's going to happen? You're going to get further away from God. Because if two people are running together, one's faster than the other, the slow one can't keep up. What's going to naturally have to happen for them to stay together? The fast one has to slow down. So he's going to pull you away from God rather than the opposite. So I beg you, don't expect change after marriage. What you see is what you're going to get. Okay? Critical, guys, critical. Last thing when it comes to this is that make sure that you're proud of this person. What I mean by this is that you've got to be proud of every aspect of this person. So are you proud of their career? Are you proud of them at church, when you bring them to church? Are you proud of them at work? If they came to pick you up from your work, would you be proud of that person? I don't mean it in a superficial way, but what I'm trying to say is that there is nothing about this person that you're, I don't know about this. Because you know what's going to happen in a few years' time? You're going to look down on them. Again, to make it clear what I'm trying to say. So typical, this happens in Australia a lot. Say you get a girl who's a very successful doctor and she falls in love with a garbage collector. I'm not saying anything bad about garbage collecting, obviously, but what I'm trying to say is she proud of, when he comes to pick her up from work in his garbage truck, is she going to be proud of him or is she going to try to hide? If there's anything you're trying to hide about your spouse, be careful. Just be careful and consider what's happening here. And by the way, again, sorry, I'm going to go on a rant now because I can't, I promise myself not to do this, but I can't control myself. When you're single, right, you've got no idea. Like, I'm talking about myself anyway. When I was single, I had no idea. My view of marriage was from the love songs and the romantic comedies. That's what I thought. And I used to watch the stuff and I think, yeah, that's what marriage is. Now that I'm married, I watch this stuff. That stuff's garbage. Like I was saying to my wife, they should make the stuff illegal. Absolute garbage. They're feeding you garbage. This is not reality. You want to hear some quality garbage? Have you guys heard of a guy called Amr Diab? Okay, for those who don't understand Arabic, just go listen to some songs and put Google Translate on something. Absolute garbage. But again, when I was single, I used to listen to this stuff and think, yeah, that's normal. That's just love songs. Garbage, guys. There's another movie. Gosh, what was it? I wasted 2 hours of my life watching this movie. What was it called? Crazy Rich Asians or something? Have you guys seen it? So the reason why it upsets me is this, right? Is this. I think that the love songs and the love stories and all that, the problem with them is this. As a married man, I'm telling you now, I'm looking back and telling you what the problem with them is. They're trying to feed you the idea that all it's about is love. Our love can conquer anything. So this Crazy Rich Asian movie, whatever it was like a billionaire guy and a very poor girl. They fell in love. A lot of obstacles, different lifestyle, different families. But the point of the movie was, it's all right, their love will conquer. Garbage. And sorry to sound unromantic, but there's practicalities in life. It's not all about emotions. Emotions are up and down. There's got to be fundamentals and foundations that you have to be compatible in. If you're not compatible in those foundations, those emotions are going to go eventually. You know what I'm trying to say? These emotions and the heightened emotions and the excitement are at the beginning. Again, I'm not trying to sound unromantic. Marriage is great. I love my wife. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is, okay, I'll make it very practical for you to see what I'm trying to say. When I was engaged and my wife would text me, right? So my phone would light up and I'd see her name. My heart would jump, right? My heart would jump. Now, when she texts me, again, look, I'm happy to hear from her, but that jump doesn't happen. After 15 years of marriage, again, don't get me wrong, guys, I'm not trying to sound unromantic. I love my wife to bits. But I feel real love is like a strong rock foundation under the waves of the ocean. The waves go up and down, but the real love is the foundation. So after 15 years of marriage, that foundation is what comes through. Like the waves come and go. And especially at the beginning, a lot of waves at the beginning. But the waves settle down, and what you're left with is this solid rock, which is a lot better than the jumps. Like, it's a deeper type of love. That's what you want. But the love songs and the movies are all about the waves. It's the waves that will get us through. Garbage. Those crazy rich Asians, guarantee you they're going to get divorced. Guarantee you. Right? Sorry to go on a rant, but it just upsets me. So I had to say that. Sorry, I had to get off my chest. All right. So that's the point I'm trying to say when I say be proud of them. If there's something that is you're unsure about, don't think our love will get us through. No. Just stop and think. Use your mind and think, is there a solid foundation or is it just emotions? Yep. Okay. I'm speeding through this because I want to download everything I've got. Now, they told me to touch on dating. Okay, so now imagine I've found someone, I've prayed, I've done all this, everything's good. Now I am actually starting to go out with this person. What are some tips? Okay, and then I'll end there. We can maybe take some questions. Okay, so before I talk about dating, the objective of dating, keep this in your mind. What is the point of dating? The point of dating is to figure out whether it's God's will for us to continue. Okay? That is the sole objective of dating. We are trying to figure out God's will. Do we continue? Do we go to the next step or not? Okay? Keep that always at the back of your mind. If that is the aim of dating, how do I approach dating? So if I'm trying to figure out God's will, I'm still not sure, is it God's will or not? That means I pray, obviously, right? So I pray together. I pray again, and I pray, what do I pray for? Do I pray for God to make us get married? Do I pray for God? No, I'm praying, God, is this your will for us to continue? You get what I'm saying? Stay focused on the goal of dating. Stay focused. Don't start to go right and left. God, is this your will? That means if God's answer is no, it's not my will, and we end up breaking it up, that's fine. You've succeeded in your aim. Yeah? Because don't forget, your aim was to figure out God's will. You figured it out. So that was a success. It's not a failure. You've succeeded. If the aim of this period is to figure out God's will about whether to continue or not, that means I've got to be careful with how I speak, especially the guys. I've got to be careful with how I speak to her. I've got to be careful what I say, and so I don't lead her on and talk about the future and we'll have kids. No, because you don't know that yet, right? The aim is to figure out God's will. So this is a big mistake most people will make. They'll get carried away, and they haven't figured out God's will. And then they figure out after marriage that, it wasn't God's will. So pay attention during the dating period. This is about figuring out God's will. So that means, look, some people have, like don't say I love you, for example, until you figure out God's will and you have put a ring on the finger. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, be careful with jumping too far ahead. The objective is I'm figuring God's will. Once I figure it out, then I can move to the next stage. Finger, I love you, let's talk about the future. So when I was going out with my wife, I tried to avoid talking about the future in this period. Why? Because I'm figuring out God's will. I don't want to lead her on, and then God says no, and she's heartbroken. So as the guys, you've got to protect her heart. Be men and protect her heart. Be careful what you say. Don't lead her on until God says, yes, go to the next step. Does that make sense? Am I too old-fashioned? I mean, I think it's going to save you a lot of heartbreak. Okay, so number one is pray. Number two, study each other. What I mean by that is this. When you're dating, go deep with each other. Don't just go to the movies and sit in the dark alone. Like, talk about deep things. Like, every time you go out, try to learn something new about this person. Like, talk deep. Like, for example, tell me about your childhood. What are your parents like? Because the parents, like when we grow up, we see our parents, we think that's marriage. So typically, every situation, but I will probably replicate a lot of that in my marriage. So you want to see what the parents are like. So for example, I remember someone was telling me they're a marriage counselor. They put the couple together and they say to the guy, tell me about your mum. My mum cooks 5 meals a day. She cleans the house twice. My dad sits on the couch, does nothing. Okay. Tell me about your mum to the woman, to the girl. The girl will say, no, everything's shared equally. My dad cooks, my mum cooks. Okay, that's important because you know what? He's going to expect probably to replicate some of what he sees at home. See what I'm saying? So you've got to study the person. Talk about deep subjects. Don't waste time in the cinema. And obviously, that's all important. You can have fun and stuff. But make sure you learn something about the person every time you meet them. Go deep. It's like you're studying them. Like someone was saying, it's like you're doing a PhD on this person. Study them. And actually, when I proposed to my wife eventually, I wrote a book called Tina by Basem about everything I learned about her. Right? Because we were studying each other. Okay. Number 3, parents. I know every situation is different. I know every parent is different. But as much as you can, make sure your parents are on your side. As much as you can. It's going to save you a lot of headache in future. Yeah? I know it sounds romantic, Romeo and Juliet, let's just run and trust me. These parents, they're going to be your kids' grandparents. This is the family, they're entering into the family. So as much as you can, again, I know some parents are difficult, some parents are unreasonable, but as much as you can, within your effort, try to have your parents on side. It's going to save you a lot of headache. Okay? Okay, guide. You need a guide during this period. As I said, when you drive, you have a driving instructor who teaches you how to drive, or else you're going to hurt someone. When you enter marriage or relationship, off you go. You're going to hurt someone. Like, you need a guide to guide you through it. Preferably someone married, not your mates, not TikTok. Someone married whom you trust, someone spiritual, abuna, a spiritual guide, someone. And preferably as well, someone who's independent. As in, the parents could be a good guide, yes, but ideally someone who's not emotionally involved, who can give you an independent perspective. So please, guys, don't think, yeah, everyone else is doing it, I'm just going to do it. You need a guide. Trust me, when I was single, I had no idea. So you need a guide to tell you what's ahead. Like, I've walked this road ahead of you. I can tell you, watch out, there's a ditch over there. And watch out, there's a red light camera here. Watch out, there's a... You know what I mean? I've walked the path, so I can look back and tell you. So you need a guide. Like, pre-marriage counseling is a great thing to do. Like, I did it with my wife. One of the best things we ever did. Because pre-marriage counseling tells you, be careful. This is what typically causes problems in marriage. This, finances, parents-in-law, children. Like, we've seen thousands of marriages. That's what typically causes problems. So address these problems now before you enter marriage to make it smooth transition. Yeah? I'll tell you a funny story. So I did the pre-marriage course here in London. And one of the things we were talking about was finances, right? When you get married. So look, generally, women don't mind spending, yeah? Like, women like shopping, right? Men, are a bit more, some people call it tight, but I call it like thrifty, wise with money. So that often causes problems, right? So in this pre-marriage course, they said to us, okay, we're going to do an exercise. So you sit back to back with your fiance, and they go, imagine you're out on the street on your own. You see something in a shop you like, you want to buy it. How much do you spend? What's the limit before calling your spouse and just checking? Like, if I find £1,000 suit, do I just buy it, or do I call it, I found £1,000? Like, what's the limit? Write down a number. So you each write down a number, right? So I was feeling generous that day. I wrote £50. No. My fiance at the time, she wrote £200. Right? Then they say, turn around now, show each other. So we show each other, and I was like, what? And she was like, what? But then we talked about it, we met halfway, £75, right? But the reason I'm saying this story is that we addressed it now before we got married. Imagine we didn't address this. We get married. She goes out, buys a £200 dress. She comes home, I snap it, right? For no reason. But when we address it before marriage, it's smoother. Now we know what to do. See what I mean? That's the point of having a guide, having pre-marriage counseling. They're telling you, watch out from this, address it now before you enter into marriage. Okay? So that's the point. Have a guide. Now, okay, number 5. This is touchy, but stay pure. Okay, look, this is very touchy, but you have to understand, guys, like, for the girls and the guys. For us guys, our biggest struggle, or one of our biggest struggles, is lust, physical lust. So just be conscious of that. That's his struggle. So help him. Like don't put yourselves in situations where he's going to struggle. Just keep that back of your mind. Just keep back of your mind. That's his struggle. Okay. And guys, be careful as well. What you tell a girl makes a difference. Like her emotions control her body. So be careful what you say. Like, again, as I said, I love you, we'll talk about the future, we're going to have these kids. Be careful. Protect her heart. Don't stain a relationship that God has brought together. Like, we're not perfect, no one's perfect, we're all sinners, but try as much as you can, pray about this, not to stain it. And some practical advice when it comes to this topic. Keep this in mind. The rule is physical intimacy increases as commitment increases. They have to move together. If the physical intimacy outpaces commitment, so there's no ring, no commitment whatsoever, and I'm like doing married people things, that's trouble. The physical intimacy moves up with the level of commitment. So for example, I know some people who didn't hug until, say, there was a ring. Didn't kiss until, say, they got married. Again, it's up to you. Talk to your guide, but you want to make sure that the level of intimacy moves with the commitment. Yeah? And as a guy, remember this. Your objective when it comes to dating someone is, if it doesn't work out between you and you end up going your separate ways, your objective is, in future, you want to meet her husband, shake his hand and say to him, I treated your wife with respect. Right? That's your aim. So keep that back of your mind. Now, I'd say when it comes to this, guys, again, I beg you, err on the side of caution. So err on the side of conservatism. If holding hands is going to get you excited, don't hold hands. Like, just err on the side. You would rather, again, regret not doing enough than regret doing too much. Yeah. So err on the side of caution. Another thing that someone told me, which I think really helped, it may sound very, very hardcore, but trust me, you don't want to stain your relationship, is set rules with each other. So don't just say, we're going to stay pure. What's that? Like, what's stay pure? Can I hug you? Can I do this? What can I do? So set rules. Like, for example, someone was telling me, you can set a rule, like, for example, we're not going to be in a house or like an apartment together alone. That's a rule. We're not going to sit in a parked car alone at night. You see what I'm saying? Again, it sounds like, but you want to be clear. You want to have the boundaries clear so there's no misunderstanding. This is what we're going to do, this is what we're not going to do. And have someone accountable, like maybe show it to Abuna. Say, well, this is what we've agreed on this. Can you keep us accountable? Again, I'm just trying to do anything I can to keep my relationship pure, because if God has started something, I don't want to stain it. And look, after marriage, it's fine. But just that period, don't stain what God has put together. Okay, last point is be yourself. Don't act. Be yourself. They've got to know what they're getting themselves into. So someone was once telling me, show your bad side on purpose. So I remember me and Tina, once we sat down, and I was like, I'm going to be upfront and open with you. I'm going to tell you all my bad habits. From the moment I wake up, I remember I was saying to her, okay, just so you're aware, I blow my nose really loud. I'm just telling you. Okay? Then I do this. So now when we're married, I'll blow my nose loud. She's like, what's that? I'm like, I told you when we were engaged. I told you. No surprises. So be yourself. No point acting. Tell them what they're going to get themselves into. Okay? To wrap up, one last verse to summarize what I've been saying. Delight yourself also in the Lord, and he shall give you the desires of your heart. Okay? Delight yourself in the Lord. Don't forget, guys, the one. The need is for one. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. That's my prayer for you guys. I hope this was useful. I'm happy to take any questions. I know people sent a lot of questions. I'm not going to be able to answer them all. You guys have a panel coming as well. But anyone want to ask in person? Anyone brave? I'm not going to ask. Anything, or should I go? Yes.
You said when you found a person, or when you're just starting off with them, you're trying to figure out God's will, right? And obviously, like, you pray and stuff, but how do you know when you've actually figured it out? And like, do you know, like, how do you figure out God's will? And how do you know when you have figured out God's will?
That's the most common question, right? And I was reading through some of the questions. That is the most common question. How do I know God's will? it's not only about relationships, right? How do you know God's will in your everyday life? Like, how do you know God's will? Nabil, I think I was talking to Nabil on Sunday, and Nabil said a very good point. He said, do you recognize your dad's voice? If I give you 1,000 men, would you be able to recognize your dad's voice? Yes, how? How do you know your dad's voice? Because you know your dad. Like you have a relationship with your dad. That's what I'm saying. Invest in your relationship with God now. Like get to know His will in, I don't know what course I'm doing at uni. What job do I take? Like in every step I'm taking in life, I'm in His will. I'm seeking His will. You see what I mean? But our problem is we don't do any of that. And when it comes to marriage, and we ask God's will, God, and I don't know His voice. So that's the point I was trying to make before, is that invest in your relationship with God now while you're single, and you'll know God's voice. I remember when I was young, I was very young, I was probably about like 8, 7 years old. I asked my dad, how did you know that mum was the one? Like, how did you know? And my dad goes to me, God told me. I'm like, what a lame answer, God told you? What do you mean God told you? But now, if you were to ask me, how do you know that Tina was the one? You know what I'm going to answer? God told me. Like, it's simple. Like, if you get to know God, you will know. You will hear His voice. I can't give you a formula. Obviously, some people say, yeah, you've got to feel peace, everything's got to be going smoothly. That's all great. But nothing beats knowing. Like I'm not exaggerating. When I was going out with Tina, or before I was going out with her, like when I was thinking about approaching her, I felt, I'm not exaggerating, that the whole universe was trying to set me up with Tina. Honestly, I felt the whole universe, the weirdest thing. I wrote it in the book, but the weirdest things were happening. I felt like God deals with you in your own special way. God knew I needed these signs. That's where He deals with me. God will deal with you different. I can't give you a stock standard answer. This is how you know God's will. But the only stock standard answer is get to know God, and you'll recognize His voice. Sorry if I didn't answer your question directly, but I wanted to add anything to that.
You.
There is no other answer. Yeah, like Basem put it really well. How will you know, God's will if you don't know Him? If you don't know Him, if you can't hear His voice, if you don't communicate with Him, how will you know? So this is extremely important. And the other thing is, in the process of knowing the person, if you followed the points that Basem put up, like prayer, guide, all these type of things, and you go through them, you will find the answer yourself. And finding the answer yourself is actually God in you, giving you that answer and giving you that direction. But if you are covering your eyes and you're letting go of all of the red flags because you want something, then know that this is not God answering you. This is you answering yourself.
Thank you, Wina. Anyone else brave enough? Oh, great, you guys are brave. Okay, we've got a few people. Should we start? Thank you, sir. You pick, sorry, you pick.
Hello. I was going to ask, how do you know when, I guess, God would want you to stay in a relationship during hard times or hardships because they're human and you guys are supposed to grow together and work on things, or if you're just not supposed to be with that person?
Again, I think very similar question, right? As to how do I know? Again, this is the most common question. How do I know God's voice? But again, I feel we sometimes want like a silver bullet. This is how you know God's voice. X, Y, Z. But again, it's like me. It's like you asking me, how do you know what your wife wants? I just know my wife. Yeah, but how do you know? Give us a formula. I can't give you a formula. Like I know my wife well. I'll know, yeah, she'll like this, she won't like this, she'll want me to do this. Like I know her. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's very hard for me to give you a formula as to this is how you know. So that's what I'm saying again, to harp on the point. Invest in a relationship with God now. Now. Pray. Pray hard and genuinely from your heart. Say to God, God, like I used to pray and say to God, God, everyone's telling me to worry. Everyone's telling me I've got to get married because people are going. But you know what? I'm trusting in you. And I'm telling them that. So don't let me down. Like they all know now I'm trusting in you. If you let me down, so pray from your heart. Say, God, I want to know your will. I really want to know. Because I don't want to do something on my own. I want to be in your will. And if you're genuinely praying that, God will show you. I don't think God's going to go, no, I'm not going to show you. Good luck. Do you know what I mean? So pray from your heart, but don't just pray about that. Like start earlier. Start the relationship with God in everything, every decision in life. I'm involving God, then when it comes to this one, it'll be easier. Does that make sense? Again, sorry, I can't give you a formula. And by the way, with these questions, every situation is different. Like I was reading some of the questions that were sent, some very specific questions. It's very hard to answer in public generically because there's certain nuances and details. So I encourage you to speak to a guide as well about your specific situation to give you tailored advice. I'm just giving you general advice.
You said the point of dating was to find out what God's will is, but you made it clear with your own example that you already knew it was God's will when you asked her out. It doesn't have to be a silver bullet answer. It can just be for you.
Yep.
So what was the point of dating?
Yes, no, definitely. So look, the way God dealt with me, and it's just me, was in steps. So the first step was to ask her out. That's just the first step. The next step after that, this is working out, we're going to get engaged. Then married. See what I mean? So what I was saying was that I felt that God was telling me, ask this girl out. And I even told her, I said to her, listen, because to be honest with you, as I told you, the whole universe was trying to set me up with it. It was crazy. Some things were happening. Absolutely crazy. I felt everyone was in on it. Have you seen that movie Truman Show? They're all actors around you. I'm thinking, are you guys honestly, some weird things. So I said to her, listen, some weird things have been happening. All I know right now is I need to ask you out. That's all I know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to work out. We'll pray about that. But all I know, God is telling me, take this step. Okay? Take this step. And I was even thinking, maybe if it doesn't work out, God will teach me something through it. But He definitely wants me to take this step. I'm sure of that. And then, you get to know her. Then you're studying, is it God's will for me to move to the next step, which is engagement? See what I mean? So it's step by step. That's what I meant when I was talking about that. Does that make sense? Cool.
You're right. Actually, all of us. I'm one of them. I was one of them. But just how can you make sure as you're going through, again, take your time in knowing the person real well. Take your time in praying for the person and praying for God to guide you. Everything that Basem is saying is going to be, there is no formula. The only formula that you're going to make sure that you're following right is bringing God into it. If you do not bring God into it, then, as Basem said at the beginning, good luck. Because you don't know what's happening. And actually, as we were talking now, somebody sent me a message saying, Abuna, this is great, we're having, this talk by Basem now, finding the one, then we're going to have dating done right, a panel next week, and then the two become one the week after. He said, what about divorce? Shouldn't we talk about divorce? Maybe. I don't know. But again, in that sense of talking about divorce, maybe it's for us to be aware if during the process they are not the one and God is not giving you peace and God is not directing you, then stop before we go into the divorce.
Actually, when everyone was talking, going back to people asking how do I know God's will and all that, I'm going to tell you a story, a true story. I have a friend, again, a very good friend of mine. He told me, I love this guy, when he was considering a relationship, he said, I sat down and I made a list of the qualities I want in a wife. I made a list. And I was very specific. I wanted to like this type of music. I wanted to speak Arabic. Very specific, right? He made a long list. And then he would go to God and say, God, this is what I want. I'm not going to lie to you, right? God knows what's in my heart before I say it. So why lie? Why say, God, I want your will? I'm going to be honest. This is what I want. I want this list. And then he said, as he's praying, time's going on, he'd look at the list. No, actually, let me get rid of this one. Okay. And he'd pray again, pray. No, let me change this. He kept chopping and changing the list as he's praying. Now he's married. He goes to me, my wife ticks every box on that list. So why do I like this story? Because it's exactly what we should be doing. We go to God with our desires, but we allow Him to change our desires to align to His will, right? And then at the end, He gives me exactly what I want. Delight yourself in the Lord. He will change your heart to align it to His heart, which is the best thing for you, and then He'll give you that. Yeah, so I encourage you to approach it the same way. I'm going to God, flexible enough to be changed. I'm being honest, but I'm willing to be changed by Him. He changes me in prayer to align to His will, and then He'll give you the desires of your heart. Make sense?
Anyone else want a question? Oh,
Yes.
okay. I'm going to come.
Thank you, sir.
I feel like at a certain age, as an adult, everyone may have a past. And how important is that when you're getting to know someone? And is it even important in a way? And how do you deal with that if there is a past?
That's a great question. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I remember when I first started going out with Tina, remember I said you need a guide? So our guide was Abuna Tomas, because he was our confession father, both of ours. So I remember when I first went to him, and I said to him, Abuna, I've asked Tina out, and he said to me, I'm going to give you 2 pieces of advice, just 2. I said, okay, Abuna. Actually, maybe 3. He goes, number 1, keep it top secret. I'm like, okay, I didn't see the wisdom in that, but now I do. Anyway, he said, number 2, stay pure. That's what I was talking about here. And he said, number 3, do not talk about the past. He said, the past is done now. This is a new start. Once you guys are starting to go out now, that's a new start. Don't talk about the past. And I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. There's no need to bring up the past. Look, unless, obviously, the past is going to affect your relationship. Like, for example, I could have a child from a previous relationship. I have to mention that. Like, do you know what I mean? But if it's not going to affect the relationship, let's not talk about the past. It's done. I've repented. God's wiped it. Move on. But if I say to my wife, you know what, just to be very open with you, Mary, I used to go out with Mary and I used to really like Mary. Every time she sees Mary, what's she going to be thinking? There's no benefit in that. So I see the wisdom in what Abuna Tomas said. Do not talk about the past. If you've repented and you've confessed it, God's wiped it out, that's it. But again, every situation is different, because as I was saying, your past could be all over Instagram or TikTok, whatever it is, right? So you need some wisdom, you need a guide. But in general, that's what Abuna Tomas told me, and I think that was great advice. If you've repented, God can wipe anything. Move on. Does that answer the question? Okay. Anyone else?
I don't know if you'd be able to answer this question or if Abuna would answer it, but I was gonna ask. Yeah, sorry. No, it's for you, but I just don't know if you would
I can take a stab.
But I was gonna ask, how do you know when you should want marriage or not want, I don't know, or if you're being called to be celibate?
Again, very similar question. How do I hear God's voice, right?
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Look, I'd say, again, I can't give you a formula, but just some thoughts. For me, for example. Because I'll be honest with you, I didn't want to get married. I was very happy single. I just moved from Sydney. I was living in London. It was so weird for me to be so close to Europe. I'd be going to Europe every weekend, and I was living with 2 of my mates, and I'm thinking, if it's not broken, why fix it? This is great, right? So but again, God deals with you in your own special way, and He pushes you and nudges you in certain directions, right? So I'll tell you how God, again, to be very personal with you guys are all my brothers and sisters, and we're being recorded. But basically, the way God did it with me was this. Just as an example, I'm not saying this is the formula. It's just an example, a live example, so you can see maybe how it could work, right? So with me, I didn't want to get married. And then God's very clever. He put this thinker in my heart, in my mind, just randomly, that the most important thing in life is to be Christ-like, to be like Christ, right? What can beat that? That was on my mind for a few months. It was for a few months. You're going to be like Christ. That's the point of life. That's the point of everything. It was on my mind. Okay. See, God's very clever. He's about to corner me. He's about to corner me because I didn't want to get married. Okay, next step is this. If you want to be like Christ, what's the best way to be like Christ? Is to love like Christ loves, right? I'm like, yes, it's love like Christ. Okay, next step. God's very clever. What's the best way to love like Christ loves? Right? Have someone with you 24 hours a day and love them the way Christ loves. And then all of a sudden my mind was changed. Actually, maybe marriage is not a bad thing. And then He put Tina in front of me. Again, I'm not saying that's the formula, but I'm just giving you an example of how it could work. If you just trust in God, you pray for Him to guide you, He will guide you in His own special way and your own special way, because everyone's different. Like this worked with me, something else could work with you. But again, it's all about, back to what I was saying, getting to know God, and you will recognize His voice and you will know what He wants. Did I answer the question? Or?
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, one more here. Maybe while we're waiting, a lot of the questions that were asked online were around this, and maybe we should address this point. They were saying, how can I, like, there's a verse that I wanted to show you, but I didn't get a chance. St. Paul says that I have learnt in whatever state I'm in to be content. Right? So, and the reason I'm bringing this up is that we need to be content, single, and satisfied to be satisfied married. Remember what I said? Now, a lot of the questions were around, how do I be content single? Like, I'm single, I'm waiting, but I'm like, how do I make sure that I'm peaceful about it while I'm waiting? Like, how do I be content? Okay? That's the question. So something to keep in mind, guys, just again from my experience. This is gold what I'm about to say, because it's really helped me. If you want to be content in whatever state you're in, the trick is focus on what you have, not what you don't have. Make sense? Focus on what you have and make the most of that. Don't think, I don't have this. You know what it's like? I'm playing cards and I've been dealt some cards. If I spend the whole game thinking about the cards I don't have, am I going to win the game? Complete loss. But if I focus on the cards that I have and what's the best I can do with these cards, I'm going to win the game. Same with life. Whatever state I'm in, I look, what do I have right now? I'm going to make the most of what I have. If I spend my whole time thinking about what I don't have, I've lost the game. Yeah? So to be content, whatever state you're in, you think about what you have as a single person and make the most of that. So I played a game with the youth in Sydney. I said, okay, I'm married, you're single. In your eyes, what do you think I have that you don't have? And they were like, you've got someone on Valentine's Day. I'm like, I wish they'd cancel Valentine's Day. You can take my wife out on Valentine's Day. Like I'd rather have my day, 14th of February, to my own, right? What else do I have? You've got, I don't know, someone. And everything they said, I turned around on them and I showed them what it would be like if I looked at what they have. I said, you guys are single. You know what you have that you don't realize? You got time. You got freedom. That's what I wish I had that. But the problem is, if I'm wishing I have what you have and you wish I have what I have, it's a disaster. What if I just enjoy what I have and you enjoy what you have? We'll both be content. Make sense? I love you, Habibi, and Valentine's Day is the best day of the year. Thank you, Abuna. Sorry, Christian.
No worries. Firstly, thank you for this amazing talk. And for my question, you mentioned that there is a period that while going out or dating, there is a stage just studying each other. How could I know that I got already enough knowledge that I already know, or I'm just hurrying up things because I'm excited to move on or move forward?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because often, especially with the girls, I think the emotions get in the way and you want to speed ahead. That's what I'm saying. The guy has a very big role to play, because as guys, you are leading the relationship. Like, you are leading the pace of the relationship. Like, the guy asks her out, proposes, so the guy decides the pace. So the guy has a big responsibility. While you're going through this period, as I said, protect her heart. Notice the question. Girls want to jump ahead, the emotions, but you got to protect those emotions, protect the heart. Don't feed them. Don't feed the emotions. Like I was saying with I love you, let's talk about the future, our kids. Don't feed it. Protect her heart. Okay? So that's for the guys. I'm talking for the guys. But for you, again, I think that's where a guide helps. So that's why it's very important to have a guide. It's very important to have a guide and to pray to God. And again, you say to God, honestly, God, I'm worried I may mess this up. And actually, I prayed this to God. When God brought us together, I said to God, I'm going to mess this up. Guaranteed. I'm going to mess this up. Like, you've given me this amazing girl. I know myself. I'm going to mess it up, God. So you've got to step in. Like, you've got to step in, God. This is your marriage, your idea. Again, like, you've got to take God with you every step of the way, not just in certain points in the relationship. If God's with you every step of the way, you're with him. He's like your dad with you every step. And he'll be able to guide you as well. But yes, it's good that you're acknowledging the fact that emotions could run and you need to use a bit of logic. And I think a guide would help as well, and the guy protecting would help as well.
Sorry, I'm just going to add something on this one. We think that marriage is the end goal. Sorry. No, it's not the end goal. So in the same way that Basem has a friend, I also have a friend. Okay, and it's not me, and it's not Basem. It's not Basem either. Okay, so one of my friends told me, after his marriage, he woke up in the morning, and he looked and he saw her, and he said, "Okay, what next?" And he had this big question mark on his face. What do I do? Like, okay, I'm married. So what's this about? The problem is, we sometimes are focused on marriage and we're working towards that. No, you're working towards life. You're working towards eternity, not even life here. You're working towards eternity in heaven together. That's what you're working on. The moment you start thinking that I am just going to focus all my attention to go through these stages so that I can go quickly and, get married and live happily ever after, the movies that Basem was talking about? Garbage. Okay? I can echo. Absolute garbage. They don't exist. Okay? Those people who are running on the seashore, all the sand is nice and white and doesn't exist. Okay? So you really have to honestly focus on life. Don't focus on marriage. You are going to live miserably if you do not have a plan after that. If you do not see yourselves together after that. If you do not see yourselves in eternity after that. So that's my advice. And that's how you can guarantee that you're not going to rush things, because we're talking about life. Life is, God give you all a long life. Take it. There is no rush. Sorry, Bess.
Thank you, Bruno. Yes. By the way, they told me to finish at 9:45. We have 4 minutes left. I'm happy to stay back, though, if you guys want to chat. But maybe we can officially end it at... But I don't want to keep everyone, so we can end it at 9:45. Like, I'm happy to stay back if you guys want. Yep.
Okay.
Last question.
Quick question. There's how many people are you supposed to get to know before you know what you want? Because there's this taboo against,
There's
they've
one
been
person,
dating everyone.
There's
but
one
how do you
person
know?
need to know. The one. Okay, that's what it's about. There's one person need to know. If you know the one, you'll know the other one. Sorry, I cut you off.
That was basically my question. How do you even get that criteria to show God and say, well, this is what I'm looking for, before he even starts to change it?
You can even say to God, God, I don't even have a criteria. I'm just coming to you. Do what you want with my life. What do you want? Like St. Paul said, what do you want me to do, Lord? I'm here. I'm open. Again, God's our Father, guys. God is not playing hard to get and he's good luck to you. See if you can figure it out yourself. God wants an excuse to be involved. He's knocking at the door. He wants to come in. So if you just show any sign of wanting him involved, he'll get involved. You know what I'm trying to say? He's not playing hard to get. He's actually chasing us. So we just have to give him the chance to be involved. He will be involved. He wants us to have the best life. He has plans and dreams for us. He's a father. I just have to trust that and let him in. So just be open. I don't even have a criteria, God. I've got no idea. Lead me. Do you see what I mean? I don't think God will reject that prayer and say, nah, good luck. Did I answer the question? Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you guys very much for the discussion. Thank you for asking questions. Pray for me. I'll pray for you guys. And all the best. Thank you.
Okay, Basem has kindly offered his time, although I already told him that he's staying. But he still has kindly offered his time, so he's going to be around. I was a little bit worried when Basem was talking. Tina, he loves you. I promise you he does. I'm sure she's following somewhere, and we want this marriage to continue. So he was just sharing out of his heart what has been going on, but this is beautiful because you get to see exactly what life in a relationship looks like. So as we were saying, it's just not now. So be honest. Look at the criteria. Look at your criteria. And if you look at your criteria honestly, write them down, and God does not feature in the top 3, you have a problem. Then go back, and as Basem said, work on yourself. Work on yourself, because you really need the one. And because you need the one, what you do not realize is that in every liturgy, we search for the one. Just a second. Does this remind you of anything? What? Selection of the offertory, right? Abuna. Sorry, maybe a wrong question. Who comes at the beginning of the liturgy and sees this? Okay, 2 people. Fine. This is what happens at the beginning of the liturgy for those who come from the beginning of the liturgy. Okay, just so that you're aware. Okay, this scene happens. Okay. Now, why am I bringing this to your attention? Because at the beginning of the liturgy, the priest, on behalf of everyone, is looking for the one, is searching for the one. And he searches within the offertory. So he keeps on looking, and he keeps on examining, and he keeps on comparing until he gets one which is perfect. He finds the perfect one out of all of the offertory, the perfect one who we all are going to combine in. This is the perfect one. Now, why is the priest looking for the perfect one? Because this perfect one is only going to give you, not take from you. Remember what we were talking, what Basem was talking about? If your relationship is about taking, you've got it wrong. If the person that you're with wants to take, you're in the wrong relationship. If both of you are thinking about giving, you're in the right relationship. The one that we're looking for is the one who will give you. What will he give you? For those of you, again, who are here at the beginning, when Abuna finds the one, what magic trick does he do? Sorry? No, that's not the magic trick. Sorry? Exactly. He pulls out this from his sleeve. That's the magic trick. Okay? He pulls out this from the sleeve, this piece of cloth. Okay? And what does he do with this piece of cloth? He does 2 things. The first one, he covers, first of all, sorry, I'm just... He does the following. He covers the one with the cloth. And what does he do? He keeps on wiping the cloth, or wiping the one with the cloth. This cloth has a name. This is called the sin cloth. This represents all of our sins. So what is he doing? He is taking on himself all of our shortfalls, all of our sins, and he's taking it and he's covering himself with it. Then what does Abuna do next? He puts the cloth with the cross, and he says, "He who ascended onto the cross willingly." So what is he giving? He's giving you life. And every time in the liturgy, we search for the one who is going to give us cover for our sins and who's going to give us life by taking death. This only shows that what Basem was saying at the beginning, although most of you when I was looking back, you were all sitting very anxious. When is he going to get into the real thing? Okay, we know about the one. Tell us about the other one. Okay? This is what we're here for. But actually, he is the most important one. If you're not satisfied with him now, you're never going to be satisfied anytime. Make sense? Any questions? How many of you am I going to see at the beginning of the liturgy next time? On Sunday? The same 3 people who raised their hands? Okay, we can have the Orban after we finish. A couple of, so thank you again, once again, Basem, for this amazing talk. Beautiful.